but their whole being is about going to championships and about going to Olympics. So you're taking dreams away from people. That's really tough. That's difficult.
Major Dickie Waygood taking time out today to have a chat with me about his role as high performance manager for the British 3-day event team. Dickie, your role as manager has seen your charges get team gold in the Paris Olympics, and also Laura Collett becoming an individual bronze medalist, which is amazing. What an achievement, and job seriously well done.
Thank you.
Can you give me a bit of an overview of how you like to work with your athletes and their horses to get the best possible performance from them?
Yeah, no, that's a big question, so I better start a little bit at the beginning. So obviously I stepped into this role after doing the dressage role for 8 years, and it's the performance manager. The difference is I coach as well. So Chris is high performance coach. I coach along with Chris. And right at the very beginning, we knew that some athletes would gravitate towards Chris, some would gravitate towards me, and also sometimes just because where they're based in the country, so the type of access you'll get. But fundamentally, the culture, the environment we're trying to create is for athletes to take ownership. So for example, when they come galloping out of the start box, the only thing I can do as a performance manager or as a coach is control my own emotions. It's down to the athlete, and it's down to them to think on their feet and make decisions and have most importantly, the confidence on the field of play to make those decisions. Where did the journey start? Okay, the build up to Tokyo, we hadn't won the team gold medal in 48 years. And I dreamt of this moment for, I reckon it was 20 years ago that I really wanted. I met Yogi and I was on a long list, and I wanted Yogi's job right back then. But that gold medal in Tokyo, then repeating it with the amount of expectation going into Paris, the lesson we learned really was at the World Games. We were going into the World Games, European champions, Olympic champions and world champions.
Lots of pressure.
And when we went into Bretoni, it didn't actually all go our way, which was absolutely perfect. Now, I'm almost glad that those poles did come down and we didn't win that year, because it was a good lesson on not going into the Olympics defending our championships, going into the Olympics and attacking that previous championships, that previous gold medal. So our mindset going into the games was very much that we were going there not to defend our title, but to attack and win that title.
So was your ultimate goal, has that always been to be high performance manager of the 3-day event team?
Absolutely, yeah,
That was
absolutely,
your
And I never really sort of the dressage job.
You did very well with the dressage.
Dressage was amazing.
You did amazing.
Yeah, and to be honest, if I hadn't done the dressage job, I don't think I would have been successful in this role.
So you've had many years in the military, including becoming riding master of the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. That must have stood you in very good stead for this leadership role.
I think fundamentally, I joined the army at 16 years old, and basically I left school with my cycling proficiency test that I could get the brick from the bottom of the swimming pool. So I didn't join the army and go straight to Sandhurst. I joined as a trooper, as a private soldier, and I worked my way up through the ranks. But so I learned basically by my mistakes and by putting it into practice on the coalface. So that's really stood me in good stead, and I kind of, by the end, I knew the answers to the questions before the questions were sort of put on the table. But the military, again, I mean, when you work with highly motivated people, it's a wonderful thing, because most of you are trying to hold them back, not trying to push them forward.
Just tell me, how do you manage the very delicate balance of guiding and teaching these riders, but still allowing them to use their system that's worked up until now to get them where they are
you get to a point where when you have sort of relationships with athletes, for example, you don't need to say a lot.
No.
It's just the fine details then. And what you're absolutely not doing, and this is the key, is you're not giving a lesson or a coaching session. If you're doing that at the championships or the games, you have not got the technical skills right before you've got there.
What would you say was the most tricky part of your job?
Yeah, the bit that I really find difficult is, come selection, we have selectors, but delivering that sort of news that actually you're not selected, because especially we're in we're lucky. We have a team where we could have probably sent 3 teams to Paris, and you'd have had an each-way bet on all of those teams. So you're going to end up with some bitterly disappointed people. And when you think about it, when again, I keep calling them athletes. They are, they're riders, but actually nowadays in the modern sport, they need strength and conditioning, they need nutrition and all of those key things to be able to perform at that level. But their whole being is about going to championships and about going to Olympics. So you're taking dreams away from people. That's really tough. That's difficult. And then also that final, when it comes to the final 3 and 1, that ultimately the buck stops with me. That is my decision, and that's really difficult. It
must be so difficult. And Dickie, you do a lot of public speaking when you're not tied up with your managerial role. Can you explain what you cover in your talks?
Yeah, I think I would call myself a keynote speaker, and really I storytell through a lot of it, and most of what I do. It's all common sense, and common sense isn't always that common.
No,
so
it's not.
And it really is basics, and there's no sort of magic dust. It's just actually getting the basics right and then sticking to those basics. So, and then also I try to, when I'm talking, try to bring the stories alive, or and use examples, but bring the whole thing alive, and then people can hold to it a little bit closer and understand.
Relate to it, I suppose.
100%. And then also, elite sport is elite sport, whatever discipline you're in. And we've already spoken a little bit about technical skills, where you have the coaches, that will train the technical skills. And the next bit about the character and developing that character and how to deliver. And we can go back maybe to racing drivers days. James Hunt won the championships, but Niki Lauda repeated that success. And that's sort of common thread of that character, being able to deliver. And you also need a huge amount of perseverance, because any elite sport, there are amazing ups, but there are a huge amount of downs, and it's coming back from those.
Bouncing back, isn't it? And do you think you'd ever move away from equestrianism? I hope not. But
That's a good question. Oh gosh, never say never.
No. Maybe you need to write your book.
Maybe we need to write a book.
You could do that alongside it, maybe.
Interestingly enough, we touched on it earlier. Performance is performance, and when I did the performance director's role, I did an interim role where I led all of the teams, and I did that for 2.5 years. I only volunteered to do it for 10 months, and because of COVID, and then the games got cut back, and then I led all of the teams in Tokyo, jumpers and dressage.
Yes.
Because of that, you can, it kind of gives you the tick in the box to actually step to a completely different sport, because you're managing the performance side and managing people. But what I have learned is get the right people around you.
And then it will work.
Exactly. And then the other thing is giving that ownership to people. And this includes the staff as well. Then they take responsibility and grow up, and
they feel valued, and
100%.
so they want to do the best
100%
in their area, I guess.
If I was to describe my job at the best of times, it's leading from the back.
Okay, yeah.
But when it all goes wrong, then you've got to put your head above the parapet and step up and lead from the front. But fundamentally, it's leading from the back. Filling the water bottles.
Very good, very good. Well, very good luck for the next 4 years.
Thank you.
And beyond.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's a great formula. you guys have got.
Keep touching wood.
Very good. We'll touch lots of wood. Thank you so much, Dickie.
Thank you.